It really all depends on you and what you want out of life, whether you want the master's or not. But don't let someone discourage you like, oh, it really doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything if you don't put anything into it. Don't just accept a no. Why no? Why? Everything comes full circle if you just try, if you just ask questions. Like, I never would have got that assistantship if I had accepted that no from the Student Judicial Board. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin, better known as Te Amo Erin. If you're new to my channel, I post videos every single Sunday. So guys, I graduated from Georgia State University with my master's degree. I have a Master of Art in Teaching, middle level education, 4th through 8th grade with a concentration in mathematics and science. So I'm just waiting on my actual diploma to show up. So yes, if you guys don't follow me on Snapchat or Instagram, you probably don't know that I graduated. So I was so excited. Now I'm looking for a job. I still want to do my YouTube on the side. It's just my creative outlet. It just makes me so happy to talk to you guys and like see you guys in public, and you're like, Erin, and I'm like, hey babe. I just love it. So I have written down some tips and tricks and hacks, or whatever the word you want to say, about how to survive graduate school, how to get into graduate school, how I got in, how to pick the best major for you, all that good stuff. So again, I am only one person. I do not know every single university in the world. I did a video a few months ago, I think now, that about how to get into college and grad school for free. So I will link that here for you guys if you want to see. A lot of people found that to be helpful, so I was so excited about that. But some people were asking me very specific questions like, what does the University of so-and-so do? I'm like, I'm not an academic advisor. I can only give you advice that I know that I've gone through myself. So this is just my personal experience. So the first thing I want to say is take your time picking your major. I graduated from college in December 2013, and I did not get into graduate school, or I took the entire 2014 year off, and then I went to Georgia State for grad school in the spring of 2015. So January 2015. So from December 2013 to January 2015, which is all of 2014, I was searching and soul searching. And I was trying to figure out, what am I going to do with my life? So unfortunately enough, I had a family who let me stay rent free at home. I understand that some people may not have that luxury and they may have to get a job soon, but I would say take your time when it comes to graduate school and just make sure you are picking a major for you. Like, getting a master's degree is like on a different level, so make sure you're doing something that you actually love. I literally had no idea what I wanted to do. I had to weigh out my options. I was like, okay, do I get a master's? Do I go get a PhD straight away? So I traveled everywhere. I went to all these schools. So I really soul searched and figured it out. So while I was traveling to different schools, I was meeting with advisors and talking to different people. I was emailing, and that's something that you have to get over. Like, oh, I'm scared to email. Okay, the worst they could say is no. So you have to get over that initial fear of, I don't want to, who do I email? I don't know exactly who to email. I have no idea who exactly to email, but I'm like, I want to be in this program, so I'm going to email this professor, and they might point me in the right direction. Or I'm going to email this advisor, and they'll point me in the right direction. Like, people are really want to see you win, and they really want to help you. So not only are you picking the right school, and you hope that they like you, you want to hope that you like them. Like, it's not just they pick you. You have to pick the right school for you. So don't be intimidated, thinking, oh, you know, it's out of my reach, it's out of my league. Go in there and talk to them. These are normal people, okay? So the first step in grad school, most of the time, is taking the GRE or the GMAT. So the GMAT, I believe, is more business type stuff. I took the GRE. I don't know much about the MCAT and the LSAT, so that's like on a completely different level. But it's regular grad school. You have to take the GRE, and I would say get a book, take a class. I had a book and I took a class, and I studied maybe 2 to 3 months ahead of time just to make sure that I got the best score I can. Sometimes if you score a high enough score, the institution will pay for your tuition. Consult with the institution that you're trying to go to. So say I'm trying to go to UGA or Georgia State, I'm going to hit up someone from Georgia State or UGA, an advisor, like, hey, do you have any tuition scholarships if you do well on the GRE? Just ask straight up, you know, like, you just have to try and get it where you, like, just get in where you fit in. Like, you have to ask questions, and if you don't ask questions, you're never going to be fed. That makes sense? So just because you don't do well on the GRE does not mean that you should not apply to that school. I did terrible on the GRE, and I just said I took a class, I read a book, like I did everything. I studied my butt off, and I did terrible. Like, I don't even want to tell you what percentile because it's actually embarrassing. But don't take that as, oh, I didn't do well in the GRE, so I'm not going to apply. Apply anyway. All they can say is no, and you're in the same boat as if you didn't apply. But the only difference with you applying and not applying is there's a small chance that you might get in. So you don't know what the pool is. Like, you don't know who the pool of applicants are. They need more minorities in their program, or they need more males, they need more females. You don't know what they're looking for, and just because you don't do well in the GRE does not mean that they don't look at other qualities that you have. Like, you might have a really bomb essay, or you might have had a really high GPA in undergrad. A lot of people, they understand, like, okay, the GRE, it's just there for general purposes. And some schools are really stuck on, like, you have to get this score to even be noticed. I just happened to get in Georgia State. I didn't get the best score, and I just happened to get in. So I wouldn't say it was luck. I just think I was a well-rounded applicant, even though I'm just not the best test taker. I know a lot of people say that, oh, I'm not a good test taker, but no. I'm just gonna tell y'all something that y'all probably are gonna be like, what? I walked out of the SAT 3 times. Not because I was stupid, not because I didn't think, I did well. I have an anxiety. I'm diagnosed. I have an anxiety disorder, and that's gonna be another video, a whole different video. So my anxiety was so severe that I walked out the SATs. I think some schools will take that into consideration. You just never know. Just apply anyway. Graduate school is the time to maneuver around. This is the time to really get in there and try and find a job. Now, a lot of people will get their master's degree. All they did while they got their master's degree was go to class, come home, and then once they graduate, they got their degree, they did well, they think that a job is all of a sudden going to be handed to them because they have a master's degree. That's not the case at all. And I feel like that's a big reason why a lot of people be like, well, I know this person who has an undergraduate degree and we're in the same position, we're in the same job, and I just have a GED, I just have a high school diploma, so what's the point of going to college? And it's because once you're in college and once you're in this master's program, the connections that you can make and the network you can make cannot be matched to where you are in your job. When you're in a job, in a career, it's hard to make connections like you can in school. So once you're in school, this is for grad and undergrad, you need to make mentors so they can write you recommendation letters. You need to find people who, like, oh, I want to be like this, I want to be like this person. What did they do to get there? Interview everybody, email constantly, and constantly go out to meetings and meet with people. That's what school is about. School is about not, oh, I'm just gonna get a degree to get a degree because hopefully someone will notice me. And it's like, there's too many connections already made when you're like, oh, I'm finally ready, I'm here, I have a master's degree, but you never met with anybody, you never talked to anyone, you never made sure that you had a job, or you were lined up so that you could get a better job in the future. You just went to school and went home. So why do you think that anybody would hire you just because you have this master's degree? And sometimes people can get lucky and just apply online and find a job. I mean, that's happened before, but I feel like a lot of people find themselves in a rut after they get their master's where they think it's supposed to be handed to them. No. Do you need a master's degree? A lot of people will say, oh, you really don't need a master's degree. Oh, you really don't need to go to college. And getting these degrees does not define your success, which is absolutely true. It's absolutely true. But getting these degrees will ensure that in the future you can rise up and that you're not peaking at 21 years old. So I have a master's degree, so now I can go get a PhD if I want. So I can always be I can be one step ahead of the person who's applying with me, and they have a college degree and I have a master's, and that might be the only reason that they pick me over that person because I seem more qualified. And sometimes you have a great job, right, coming straight out of undergrad, but then if you want to move up or if you want to get a higher position, you're required to get a master's, and then now you're working and you have to get a master's, so it might take you even longer to get that master's degree. So it really all depends on you and what you want out of life, whether you want the master's or not. But don't let someone discourage you, like, oh, it really doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything if you don't put anything into it. Does that make sense? Just having a few degrees does not hinder anything. You know, it might not be ideal for some people, which is fine, but having a few degrees does not hinder anything. Okay, so you're like, all right, Erin, you've convinced me in getting a master's degree. So how are you going to pay for it? So again, I've already made a video, I'll link it up here, but I would just go into a little bit more detail about my experience. So my mom always told me from a very young age that she would help out with college. I did get a tuition scholarship, so she would help out with college, room and board, but she would not help out with my master's degree. She said you'd have to take out loans for that, and loans give me anxiety. I've never had a loan. I don't really want a loan unless, you know, I'm gonna have a mortgage or something, but I didn't want unnecessary loans. So I was like, what can I do to prevent that? So I found out what assistantships were, and assistantship is basically it'll compensate you for tuition if you work like 20 hours a week in a certain office. So sometimes they have dean of students office, they have multicultural office, they have the college of education. There's so many different departments in a university, and they have assistantships. So basically, if you're in the graduate school, I have never heard of assistantship for undergrad, which sucks, but for graduate school, if you work with a certain office and you work there 20 hours a week, they compensate you for tuition and give you a monthly stipend, which is really, really nice. So that's what I did. I actually had 2 assistantships while I was at Georgia State. The first one was just on Saturdays, and my schedule was just not working with that. And so I got another one in the dean of students office. And how I got it, I don't think I ever told you guys, I can't remember. So I applied for the student judicial board at Georgia State, and I didn't get accepted. And I was wondering, you know, like what, you know, so I emailed the advisor. Again, you need to reach out to these people. Like, what? Don't just accept a no. Why no? Why? You ask why all the time. No is not an answer unless they tell you no 50 times, then you're like, fine. But no is not an answer. So I emailed the advisor, and I met with her, and she was like, well, your GPA is a 0. And I said, my GPA is not a 0. So she was like, she can only take my Georgia State GPA. So mind you, I didn't have a Georgia State GPA because that was my first semester at Georgia State. I was like, so how do I have a 0? And come to find out, I had failed a class, which I already knew about. I failed a class when I was in undergrad at Georgia State. I was taking a summer class. I went to Howard in DC, but when I came back home, I took summer classes at Georgia State a couple summers. So I had failed a class at Georgia State, so my GPA looked like it. My undergraduate GPA at Georgia State technically is a 0. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I had a very decent GPA at Howard. Like, why can't you just take my Howard GPA? I'm not stupid. And she was just like, I know it's so weird. It's a loophole. Like, this has never happened before. So I think after me, they kind of changed the rules. But she was just like, I mean, there's nothing I can do. But I have an assistantship position that's just opening, and I would love for you to apply. And I was like, really? Oh my god. And I was looking for a new assistantship because my Saturday assistantship wasn't working. So it's just like everything comes full circle if you just try, if you just ask questions. Like, I never would have got that assistantship if I had accepted that no from the student judicial board. I never ever would have even known that higher ed was something that I wanted to go into if I did not, 1, apply for the judicial board and just try, and 2, accept that no. I would not be here. Like, it's craziness how just a little bit of effort goes a long way. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed my video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye.